My name is Terry Patrick. I'm a regional sales manager for FFT. Just wanted to say thanks for everybody for taking the time to come out and learn more about our EonNAS platform and what's going on our Generation 2. So, with that being said, I will get started. Before we get into the EonNAS platform, I wanted to spend a couple minutes to talk about InfraTrend. For those of you who don't know, InfraTrend's actually been around since 1993, so we've been in the business for over 20 years. We're fully focused on storage. We've been on the Taiwan Stock Exchange since 2002. We're headquartered over in Taiwan. We have branches all over the world. We have about 600 employees, and our CEO is a man by the name of Stone Lowe. With 21 plus years experience in the industry, we really can offer all types of storage. So whether you're looking at your SAN networks or your NAS networks or your direct attached storage, whatever the case may be, we definitely have offerings for all. We're an in-house technology shop, which means that we're building everything, whether it be the ASIC, the firmware, the controllers. It's our technology. We're building it. We support it. And we know what to do with it. Also on our controllers, what's nice is we can do active-active controllers. We have a very wide product portfolio. So whether we're looking at entry-level all the way up to enterprise-class type storage solutions, we have something that fits in all of them. So we have our DS class, we have our EonNAS class, and we have our ESPA class, which today we're going to spend a lot of time talking about the EonNAS. Now we can talk about the EonNAS and talk about some of the specifics to it, the technical specifications, really what that EonNAS does. We have a couple different product lines inside of our EonNAS. So we have our Pro series and our 1000 series, which is more of the entry-level type devices. And then we have our 3000 series, which our 3000 series is phenomenal when it comes to performance and scalability. And we'll talk about both of these more as we go along. So some of the highlights when we take a look at our NAS unit. So high availability, system upgrades with host board options, which we'll talk more about, how we can utilize an empty slot inside of our array to change host connectivity types when we want. We have a modular and cableless type design, which we'll go into more detail. Storage capacity, we can actually expand up to 1.5 petabytes. Global namespace for easy maintenance, which is always nice. File and block, unified storage inside of the one box. High availability. Obviously, the benefit to that is going to be the no single point of failure. It helps you maintain that business service continuity. The redundant controller design is key inside of most people's environments to help with the failover piece, to help with the additional throughput, the additional performance versus going to an active standby type controller. What's also nice about our NAS units when it comes to the single controllers is that they're actually upgradable to a redundant controller system. So what that means is you can go ahead and buy what you need now, and if you need additional performance later on, you can add that controller and move to it when you're ready. So in talking about host board options, I had mentioned it before, but this is where it really comes into play. So on our controllers, we actually have an empty slot. With that empty slot, you can add an I/O board to that, and whether you want to do 1 gig iSCSI, 10 gig E, or even fiber, we can definitely add that. And the nice part to it is if you started with 1 gig iSCSI and decided later you want to go to 10 gig E, well, you no longer have to completely replace your box in order to do so. You can replace the I/O board with the latest technology, 10 gig E or whatever the case may be, change the connectivity types, change a couple settings inside of there, and you're off and running, which is fantastic. And so both the controllers obviously need to be populated with that same host board, but you can definitely change the connectivity types between them. Very, very nice offering for us to be able to give. The modular and cableless design. But we try to make everything as hot swappable and redundant as possible. So your controllers, fans, power supplies, hard drives are all hot swappable. And then obviously try to simplify the maintenance piece to it to help minimize that downtime, which is obviously key when looking at a storage solution. So the ability to be able to pull these out when it's running, change it out is definitely nice. Management tools. So we obviously have the command line interface for those of you who just really like to take advantage of that and the functionality of it versus a GUI interface. We also have the EonOne Central Management Utility, which is a dashboard that's going to show all the storage availability, usage, system information, and it's going to be the same across all the different EonNAS models. And then we also have the GUI interface. It's, again, very intuitive, easy to maneuver around, very simplistic by design. So very nice offerings on a management side. So this is a unified storage solution. And so what that means is there's a ZFS-based operating system that resides on there. It's actually embedded. And with that ZFS operating system, it allows us to do different file level protocols on there. So whether we're talking about AFP, FTP, HTTP, CIFS, NFS, all those different protocols. I mean, we definitely have the ability to handle and maintain those. We can also support block level access inside of the same box over iSCSI or fiber channel. And then there's several different ways that we can work to help optimize that block level performance. Some of the things we can do with the write back technology that's on there. So on the data integrity side, ZFS is obviously a very solid, very stable platform. It does things that we really want to be able to see in an array, like automatically detecting and recovering corrupted data, scanning drive media periodically. Helps recover those errors automatically, so you don't have to mess with it. The high availability piece on our arrays, being able to do the active controllers. The modular and cableless design, we try to take out so much of that complexity, and so it's very nice offering for us to have. And then, of course, being an in-house technology company like ourselves, we've done a lot of testing with our arrays in a ZFS operating system to make sure the data integrity is there. File sharing, whether we're doing cross-platform file sharing, whether it's across Windows, Mac, Linux, Unix clients, and doesn't bother us either which way, we'll do it all. Global namespace. So as you guys know, global namespace is a single path back to access data stored in different locations, which saves a ton from a management standpoint. The account and access rights, and so we'll tie back into Active Directory and LDAP, as well as the Windows ACL control list. And of course, you're always going to have the advanced folders permission. From a backup standpoint, with this array that's included with the purchase of it, you'll have the ability for snapshots. You'll have the ability for pool mirroring, remote replication, and then the complete third-party backup software support. And for those of you who aren't too familiar with snapshots, snapshots a point in time, copy, which is basically pointers and indicators back to an original set of data, and the deltas to give you a very space-efficient, fast copy of that data. So it's very secure, very fast, very efficient. So maintenance. When we talk about maintenance, some of the big pieces to that are going to be the modular and cableless design. That's going to help minimize single points of failure. It's going to give us the ability to add more and more hot swappable components. We have Eon Rescue, which is a USB rescue image tool. It's very simple, very fast recovery without having a ton of downtime associated with it. Our disk roaming, if one of your boxes had an issue and you had to actually pull those drives and put them into another EonNAS, you can do that. And then global namespace, as you all know, the single storage name is transparent. It's basically a single path back to multiple sets of data. So I like to be able to say we try to future-proof our products as much as possible, which is the truth. So with our I/O board technology that we have, with the ability to be able to change those out at any given point in time. If I wanted to start somebody with 1 gig iSCSI now and move them to 10 gig E, I can easily do so. Being able to move from a single controller to a redundant controller unit, I have the possibility, I have the technology to do that as well. From the capacity scalability standpoint, we can do up to 256 hard drives on these. And doing 6 terabyte drives, I mean, that's a petabyte and a half. And then, of course, we really try to utilize the high reliability of the SAS expansion interface. So virtualization is important in any storage environment now. So for us to be able to have the certifications for VMware, for Microsoft Hyper-V, Citrix, some of the Veeam pieces, and then also giving you the ability to utilize thin provisioning, which is the over-allocation of resources if you're not familiar with it. And so basically you can go and set up your environment for what you're going to need in the future with only buying what you need now. So now we can talk about our EonNAS 3000 Gen 2 that's just being released, and obviously everything will start moving towards this direction, but these are some of the new additions to the boxes and what it can do. All right, so now let's talk more about the G2 highlights and what's different. So it's going to be more of a compact dimension, which means it's going to be a shorter chassis, which is nice. It means it's going to take less rack space, which is always important in any environment. Simple standardized host boards. What that means is whether you're looking at our DS3000 series or you're looking at our NAS 3000 series, you're going to be utilizing the same I/O boards on either, which means they're going to be interchangeable. And then full support for high density JBODs. So all models are going to support 24 bay, 60 bay JBODs for large capacity expansion. And then, of course, low power consumption, trying to use more power efficient power supplies. When we take a look at some of the comparisons that are out there, you can see our EonNAS 3000 versus G2. The host boards are going to be different. The power supplies are going to be different. And then the overall hard drive capacity expansion is going to be different. You can see that on the Gen2, when utilizing the 12 bay units, it used to be 120 hard drives you could scale out to. Now you can do 252. So a big difference. And this gives you a better picture as far as what the depth difference is going to be. So it's going to take you from 650 millimeters down to 500. And so, it's quite a bit difference when you're taking a look at some of these smaller racks. So now we have full support for high density JBOD. And what we're saying by that is that our traditional G1 model, there were some limitations as far as what JBODs could be associated with what head units. Whereas now in our Gen 2, it doesn't matter if you're utilizing the 12 bay or the 16 bay NAS unit, you can still take advantage of that 60 bay JBOD. You could still take advantage of the 24 bay JBODs, which you couldn't do before. So, very nice offerings for us to start adding into these arrays. So from a green design standpoint, 80 plus certified power supplies, which just means that it's going to be lower energy consumption for a much greener approach, which is great. And then we're still utilizing intelligent drive spin down technology, which ultimately means you can configure this to set based on parameters of how often something is being accessed, as to if you want that drive to be down in idle or standby, and then be able to power back up as soon as you start accessing. So thank you so much for taking the time. I hope it was informative. I hope you got a lot out of this as far as what our NAS units can do. It's a very solid, reliable product that's doing very well in the marketplace right now, and it's going to continue doing better and better with the more advances that we do to it. So again, thank you so much. This is Terry Patrick with InfoTrend. Have a great day.